Action Alliance, AA, challenging their exclusion from the September 19, 2020 governorship election by the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. The petition was dismissed following objection by the People's Democratic Party that the petitioner did not serve them a pre-hearing notice. Our correspondent, Chinedu Ekeja, reports that while hearing continues on 4 other petitions before the tribunal, the Action Alliance intends to explore appeal option against the tribunal's ruling.
The tribunal, in its ruling, held that in the petition against the first and second respondent, the petitioner was deemed to have abandoned his petition as he failed to file the pre-hearing notice. Similarly, in the petition against the third respondent, the tribunal held that the pre-hearing notice was not filed within time, hence the petition was dismissed. Speaking to journalists after the ruling, counsel to the petitioner, Erahunyi Osaibovo, disagrees with the decision of the tribunal, arguing that the ruling was not on the merit but merely on procedural defect.
Yeah, the petition was dismissed on ground of mere procedural irregularity. The second respondent, that's the People's Democratic Party, were the one that raised that objection that we didn't serve them pre-hearing notice. And the objection they raised was supposed to be made on notice, served on the petitioner. But they just raised it orally in court. And the court held them. The court was not supposed to have done that. We have a ground of appeal. We believe that even if the court was supposed to have taken the objection, the ruling should have been reserved until after the final determination of the petition. The petition ought to have been heard on the merit.
He clarified that his client has no interest in removing Godwin Obaseki as governor, but would proceed to appeal the ruling.
We have a right to appeal, and we shall file our notice of appeal and approach the Court of Appeal. Moreover, we are not contesting the re-election of the governor. We are not saying the governor didn't win the election. We are only saying that INEC excluded the petitioners. Even with the court judgment that they should include the petitioner in the election, they disregarded it. That is what we are saying. Even the PDP that raised this objection, we are not even merely against them. It's against INEC. So they will be affected. That's why they are joined as party. So we are going on appeal, and we shall win on appeal.
But the counsel to the PDP appears unbothered by the petitioner's plan of appealing the ruling.
What is important is that today, out of the 5 petitions, one of them has been dismissed. Whether the person is unhappy with that, he wants to appeal, that of course is his own prerogative. But the point is that today we got one of the petitions dismissed. So along the line, of course, we hope to be able to defend the petitions and allow the mandates of the governor and his deputy, of course, to stand.
Apart from the ruling on the Action Alliance petition, the tribunal also delivered 2 other rulings. The oral objection by the respondent against the petition of Agor Ebun Tracy of the NNPP. The tribunal held that the petitioner's issuance of pre-hearing notice were filed within time, and therefore the pre-hearing session continues. In the petition of the Allied People's Movement against INEC, PDP, Godwin Obaseki and Philip Shaibu, the tribunal ruled that the pre-hearing notice was filed within time and consequently overruled the objection. Austin Osarenkoa and Stella Agoha are counsels to the candidate of the APM and NNPP respectively.
Application to strike out the petition was based on the fact that the application we made was premature. And it was our position that it was not premature, it was timely. And the tribunal agreed that as it was made the first day of the 7 days prescribed. Under section 138(1)(a) of the Electoral Act, non-qualification is a ground for the challenge of an election, and it's not a pre-election matter. So the petition is alive and well.
Unfortunately for the third respondent, their objection was dismissed by the Honorable Tribunal, and the pre-hearing application applied for was upheld in this matter. Petitioner is asking that the election that was held be nullified on the ground that the third respondent was not qualified to contest the election.
Other petitioners whose petitions are still standing are Action Democratic Party, ADP, and Action's People's Party, APP. The chairman of the tribunal subsequently adjourned till Monday, 14th of December 2020 for continuation of the pre-hearing session. Chinedu Ekeja, KUFM News.
Still on judiciary matters here in the state, and Edo State High Court sitting in Benin City presided over by Honorable Justice Daniel Okumbowa has declared Honorable Aremia Momo as the authentic chairman of Esako East Local Government Council of the state. Justice Okumbowa noted that Momo's removal was null and void. He was directed to resume in his official capacity immediately. Justice Okumbowa granted all the prayers contained in the originating summons and declared the earlier suspension of the claimant as illegal, null and void. The court held that the defendants failed to comply with the provision of Section 20 and 21 of Edo State Local Government Law 2000 as amended, in consultation with the Edo State House of Assembly as provided by law before suspending him. The court awarded cost of 250,000 naira in favor of the claimant. The court also dismissed the notice of preliminary objection and the motion filed by the defendants to stop the judgment of the court. The managing director of the Edo State Traffic Control and Management Agency, ETSMA, Dennis Oloriegbe, has rolled out new directive that would ensure an accident-free Yuletide. The managing director of ETSMA in his statement on Friday said, henceforth, driving against traffic, an offense referred to as one-way, would attract a maximum penalty. Oloriegbe said every apprehended vehicle plying one-way will be kept in the custody of the agency till next year as punishment to discourage would-be offenders. He said the decision became necessary following the transit nature of the state as well as the anticipated high volume of vehicular traffic expected during the Yuletide celebration. The ETSMA boss noted that the decision would help reduce the incidence of accident-related death and injuries on the road while helping to ensure the safety of life and property going into the new year. The National Drug Law Enforcement Agency NDLEA in Edo State says it has lost 93 vehicles, an office and other valuable to the recent #EndSARS protesters in the state. The agency is therefore seeking assistance from Edo State government to enable it to bounce back as its operation in the state have been grounded since the incident. The state commander of NDLEA, Buba Wakama, announced this in Benin when he led other members of the command on a courtesy call on Governor Godwin Obaseki on Friday in Benin. He said there has been an upsurge in the report of discriminate sales and use of drugs in the last few months due to their recent limitation.
A total number of 24 vehicles were completely burnt down, while 69 vehicles were vandalized. Most worrisome is the fact that 4 of the burnt vehicles are official operational vehicles, while a total of 82,000 kilograms of different types of drugs were either looted, burnt, or destroyed by the hoodlums. This has created a serious challenge in the prosecution of cases before the Federal High Court. All the awaiting drug suspects were set free at the correctional services. Operations in the states has been completely grounded. In the last months, we have received serious reports of upsurge in the reports of indiscriminate use and abuse and trafficking in drugs.
In his response, Governor Obaseki sympathized with them over the losses and destruction of their assets. He, however, regretted that he is not disposed at the moment to render kind of help needed by the federal government's agency.
We have not recovered. Our medical stores were vandalized. So if a child is born in Edo today, I have to go and look for money to buy vaccines because all the vaccines in Akwa were vandalized. So in terms of priority, you should understand that we suffered losses too, and we're also incapacitated, and we are also looking for resources to rebuild. So I believe that you should put enough pressure on the federal government, who are your direct employees, to live up to their responsibilities to keep the command afloat.
He assured them that the state will assist with temporary office accommodation and share one of its facilities for their counseling and drug rehabilitation program. Elsewhere, President Muhammadu Buhari is in his hometown, Daura, Katsina State, for a week-long private visit. This was disclosed in a statement by Senior Special Assistant on Media and Publicity, Malam Garba Shehu. While in Daura, President Buhari will carry out a number of private engagements, but he is expected to participate virtually in the meeting of the Federal Executive Council, FEC, on Wednesday, to be presided over by the Vice President, Professor Yemi Oshibajo. Nigeria's outgoing ambassador to the United States, Justice Silvanus Nsofor, is dead. His death was confirmed in a statement on Friday by the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu. The 85-year-old diplomat was said to have died on Thursday night at a hospital in Maryland in the U.S. Coming up in a moment on our Extra Voices, the growing number of gas plants and petrol stations has become a talking point due to the danger it poses on residents. Details in a moment after this short break.
In the ever-revolving world of news, one story becomes extinct the moment another major story breaks.
Market women don't know whether there be anything.
But with KUFM's Extra Voices, the story never dies. It just takes on a new life.
There's no water in the house. The toilet is not good.
We don't have any passion in APC.
We bring you new angles and fresh perspectives to every story, no matter how old or remote.
There are a lot of educated people that are involved in politics nowadays.
We go a little beyond the surface to get you those extra details ignored in the rush for the news.
Now bridge, now we take the entire.
Some don't die for inside.
We go beyond the lines to bring extra voices, not just for those making the stories.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
But for those affected by the stories.
I've lost one bag of rice, documents.
So it's a real disaster.
With extra voices, we add new flavor to give fresh perspective and taste to an old story. Extra Voices airs every Wednesday and weekends on KUFM's major news bulletins.
The sighting of liquefied petroleum gas LPG stations in residential areas are becoming a source of worry to many Benin residents. The people living close to these gas stations have expressed fears about the possible explosion and the resultant loss of lives. This edition of KUFM's Extra Voices takes a look at the growing concerns and the regulatory authorities are doing about it.
Somewhere at Ekema Road, Benin City on Tuesday, 1st December 2020, a petrol tanker discharging its content caught fire inside a popular filling station. It took the intervention of workers and youth within the area to put up the fire, but that was not before it caused a little harm. Manager of the affected filling station, Theophilus Ehiosun, who was visibly disturbed, said the fire ignited when the petrol tanker discharged its content in one of the storage tanks.
I presume that maybe the flame of the fuel and the heat of the sun are contact together, to my own knowledge, because there was nothing there, no spark, nothing, no iron to iron. So the thing got like a mystery to me. Minor, not major. Two of my workers got burned, though they rushed to hospital.
So thank God, the entire community people, they join out to make sure they put out the fire. So God be the glory. If not for their cooperation, Almighty God, the whole community would have been in a state of disaster.
Some of those who helped in putting out the fire thank God, while blaming the government for giving approval for siting filling stations and gas stations in residential areas.
Why is gas? Because gas is even more dangerous than the fuel, because this one is air. If similar something like what just happen in a situation like this one will be worse than this, because this one is air. And this one is free from this one.
The truth of the matter is that all filling stations are supposed to have fire extinguisher. I know it expired. They're supposed to check it in a routine. Every time that you will check the fire extinguisher.
This experience easily reminds one of a similar gas plant explosion at Ugbo village area of Benin City in February 2018, which claimed 3 lives, leaving several others with severe burns injuries. Lately, it has become common to come across cooking gas plants and fuel stations springing up within residential areas, sometimes in densely populated areas in Benin City. For instance, along the Ekema Road, close residential area is a fuel station and a gas plant station at Plymouth Road, built in the middle of a residential and business zone. This business owner, who identifies himself as Peter, says working during the day near the gas station could be frightening, as the highly inflammable liquid poses a great danger to those living around.
You wake up every day and sleep every day with a great apprehension, but there's really nothing or little you can do about it, because these people, I believe, they operate with a license. So if the regulatory body issued a license to them, it just shows that the citizens don't have a say, because nobody asked any question before this license was issued to this plant very close to the house. In short, the distance between the fence and where we are talking from is actually less than 6 feet. So you can imagine how close we are to the hazard.
Meanwhile, the youth were angry with men of the Federal Fire Service who came to the scene of the fire incident after they had put out the fire.
We start calling the fire extinguisher. They did not come. But at the end of the day, after we finished, we managed to off the thing. But we thank God that it's God that made sure everything was okay. After the thing was, we tried to off the thing. Before we now saw they were coming. That is the reason I'm angry. That means we don't have any. We called them for more than 30 minutes. There was nothing that was be done. Now they are here. Now they are feeding everything around. What are they doing here? I've already after everything.
But what are the regulatory requirements for siting gas or fuel stations in cities? Extra Voices spoke with Benin Operation Controller of the Department of Petroleum Resources, DPR, Engineer A.B. Ogewon. The DPR is the federal government agency responsible for the approval of gas and petrol stations before construction. Engineer Ogewon told Extra Voices that approval mechanism is a chain process which begins with Site Suitability Assessment (SSA).
If anybody wants to set up an LPG plant of between 0.1 to 10 metric tons capacity, it is expected that from that LPG tank that they want to set up to the boundary of the nearest residential building, they must maintain a distance of minimum of 30 meters to create a safety buffer.
He also spoke on the location of liquefied petroleum gas stations in residential areas in city centers.
The federal government has a policy of deepening gas penetration all over the country. After we must have licensed an LPG plant in a place and has started operating, we have constraints to be going about monitoring development as they are coming in to these areas and coming closer to the LPG plants where they are located. We do not have control over that, of course. That is where we will need the support of the respective state Ministry of Urban Development. So it is with that we need to actually sit down and educate, probably where they are not aware of some of the provisions of our safety rules in our guidelines.
With the rapid pace of urbanization, which sees new structures constantly springing up everywhere, every time, regulatory agencies apparently needs to be many steps ahead in the planning process and ensure strict adherence to city layout plans. Otherwise, a gas plant today could be a populated neighborhood tomorrow. For KUFM's Extra Voices, Lemedum Asagwaram.
Yeah, welcome back. You're still listening to KUFM's News Dawn. And now on our entertainment news, where Peter Okoye, a former member of the defunct music group P-Square, known as Mr. P, says his new album, The Prodigal, will feature collaborations with singer Wanda Cool, Simi, Tenny, Tama Braxton, Mohobi, DJ Switch, Tiwa Savage, and Ovie Kells. The track, Follow My Lead, will be available through a while and is taken from his upcoming debut solo album, The Prodigal, which is expected early next year. He has also criticized people requesting he reconciles with Paul and Jude because they are blood related. And that's it on entertainment. In sport, Everton announced club record losses. Details in a moment. Everton has announced record losses of almost £140 million after the implications of the coronavirus pandemic significantly impacted revenues. The club's deficit after tax was £139.9 million, considerably worse than a year ago when they posted a then record loss of £111.8 million, albeit over a 13-month accounting period. Everton said the cost of COVID-19 amounted to an unforeseen loss of £67.3 million. And that's it in sport news. That's the news, but before we go, let's take a quick recap of the headlines. Tribunal dismisses Action Alliance petition challenging their exclusion from Edo governorship election by INEC. And also, ETSMA to impound vehicle plying one way till 2021. Finally, on News Dawn this morning, court grants ex-AGF Adoke permission to travel abroad. Please do remember that the continued unity of Nigeria is a collective responsibility. Be sure to play your part. Do not forget you can listen to us anywhere in the world, either by visiting our website at www.kufm.net, or you can download our KU mobile app from the Google Play Store. Remember, we're also live on YouTube at KUFM Nigeria, and you can also listen to us anywhere in the world on RadioGuardian.com. KUFM News Done was produced by Lebedum Asagwaram. I am God's Love Orlando, saying thanks for listening and good morning.
Christmas, my Maggie just party jollof, 2 gis do do.
Season with Maggie. Cook the difference.
If you want make a ginger, give me
Hello everyone, your station of choice, KUFM 92.7 is at it again. Because we understand that 2020 has been tough on business, we are slashing our advert rates. It's festive season. Advertise with us from December 1st to January 2nd and enjoy a whooping 40% discount on all local adverts. Yes, you heard right. 40% discount on our advert rates beginning from the 1st of December 2020 to the 2nd of January 2021, just to wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. What are you waiting for? Hurry now and enjoy this amazing offer. Call us today on 0807-401-4147 or 0703-805-0243. You can also visit our business office at Enterprise Foundation Building, number 62, Ihama Road, GRA, Benin City for more information. Terms and conditions apply. KUFM, your business growth partner.
We go day nice. If we enter the place, I go day nice.
Here we go.
All the hits.
Okay, enough commercials.
Woo! Back to the music. KUFM 92.7. My name is God's Love Orlando, and you're listening to 92.7 KUFM.
Stop stalking your exes. Follow us on Facebook at KUFM Nigeria.
Calling me the sugar when they your tea, calling me the honey when they your bee. Anything you tell me, I believe for. Showing me around like I lost my way, telling all your friends and I me be bail. Baby, see me, I don't believe for. Tell me, make I know now. If you show me, make I know now. If you don't show me, make I know now. If you don't love me,